it's really fall vibes are upon us. So we've got candles going, got my leaves going here. We've got apple cider, pumpkin patch. I fucking love this season. Because guess what? It means it's almost Christmas time.
I don't like to rush to Christmas. I enjoy Christmas season. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm a like get out of Halloween. Let's go full Christmas. Like we don't need to get super excited for Thanksgiving.
I'm a practice Christmas guy. So like the second Halloween is done, the next day Christmas candles are out.
Right.
I have finally talked to my wife and letting us put Christmas stuff up earlier than basically the week after Halloween is done.
Yeah. I am an October. Welcome back to the Movie Dads Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Howie.
I'm Kyle.
That is Kyle. Kyle, episode number 24. Woo! The 2023 horror sequel, David Gordon Green's Exorcist Believer. It's spooky season. I see your pumpkins.
Spooky season.
Season.
Check out my shirt.
Oh, look at that. See, I'm wearing a Evil Dead. This is my boomstick shirt.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Steph made this. My wife.
Oh, nice.
Is a graphic designer and t-shirt maker, I guess.
That's excellent.
So anytime I think we had a Halloween party or something a couple years ago, and I was like, I need you to make me something in 5 seconds. And she made it. This is the second time I've worn it. So
it's a pretty good one. I like it.
Anyways.
Just the tip.
Yeah. Which I didn't think about at the time because I think that party was the kids' Halloween party where it was the adults and the kids. And obviously none of the kids got it. And I kind of didn't want them to read it. So.
Mm-hmm. Even if they didn't know the innuendo. Still. Anyways. Is that a cauldron?
Goddamn right. It's my fucking witch's brew.
Is that what you're drinking? Is it green? Whatever you're drinking?
No, it's just a little DP.
No, nice.
A little double penetration.
Yeah, just the tip. Anyway, it is episode 24 of the Movie Dads Podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, please click that like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. Share with your friends. Share with your family. Mm-hmm. We're back kind of off schedule a little bit again. We're going to get resituated here. There's a lot going on in October. We're going to keep up the content. We're going to get situated. We're going to get back on track. But yeah, if you're watching us on YouTube, click that like and subscribe. If you're not watching us on YouTube, hopefully you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Podcast Index. You can see some of our short clips and videos on social media at Movie Dads Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. That's it. Number one. You're a winner. Number one.
I'm number one.
Oh. So we're at episode 24. We had a special guest last week with my brother-in-law, Tony. I thought that turned out okay. We had some sound issues during recording that didn't show up in the replay, so that was good. But something happened.
You mean freaking Tony exploding my eardrums every 5 seconds?
Dropping his mic every 10 seconds. But yeah, the YouTube, I don't know, the transfer didn't go over very well, so there was a lot of
it was confused on why there was a third person in the video. So
it was so
I can't handle this.
There was all max headrooms going on. Mm-hmm. So, oh boy, I dated myself there. Anyway.
Yeah, you're old. I didn't get that reference.
Oh, that's okay.
Grandpa, I'm gonna have to Google that.
Whatever.
Whatever.
So we're movie dads. We've got movie kids. I don't have a whole lot to cover this week. Because it's been less than a week since we've recorded. We've been busy with work again. I was out of town last weekend, and then but the kids are out of school for the next 5 days, fall break. Conferences were this last week. Both kids are, Reagan and Des are both rock stars, so lots of good reports, good grades, good behavioral stuff, so the things that a parent always likes to hear. But that's kind of it. That's kind of it this week. We got a lot going on this weekend. We have our post-Canada fish fry on Friday. Saturday, we're doing the neighborhood pumpkin patch thing. And then Sunday, my wife's family always does a golf outing every year in the fall. Like it's almost like family reunion kind of deal. We call it the Pillmeyer Classic. That's her dad's side of the family. So this year is a little different. So we're actually hosting it this year. So we're all golfing in Elkhorn and then coming to our house for a
party on, Wayne.
Shindig. So yeah.
Did you order some of those exploding golf balls that like sound like a dynamite going off?
No, see, like when I golf with you guys, we can do that stuff. When I golf with my wife's family, we can't do that stuff.
Bunch of fun suckers.
Not all of them. Some of them are pretty damn fun. So
nice. Love that.
That's good. Anyway, Tony's gonna be there. I'll be golfing with Tony, so that'll be fun.
Big T. Hopefully he doesn't fucking blow anybody's eardrums out. I like having Tony on the show.
Hopefully he watched Rogue One this week. I'll have to ask him.
Yeah, I saw there was some people that commented on that. It was like
that's my favorite clip.
Yeah, they were more like, how is Godzilla related to this? But I fucking love that too. Yeah, and it opens the door for some potential other cameos at some point down the road. So, love that for you. We have a trip to what's called the Great Wolf Lodge, which is like an indoor water park arcade. It's like this massive cesspool of germs. But the kids fucking love it. It's like basically 24/7, just them having blasts at a theme park with the hotel is inside the park. So we are leaving tomorrow. So that will be interesting. Last year we did the same trip, and not to jinx myself, but on the way down, when we stopped at the gas station, was like, holy shit, I'm like freezing. And it wasn't that cold out, and then got to the hotel and found out that I had COVID. So like
that's right.
I like almost died overnight. I had like 103 fever for like
you were
4
so
straight
sad.
hours.
You were so sad. You couldn't go hang out in the pool with all the crotch goblins.
Yeah, so I was like, I thought I was going to get sick after the trip, not before the trip. So, but it should be a ton of fun. It'll be me, Steph, the kids, and I think some of their friends are going, and her mom. So it's all it's a good time. So she spoils the shit out of them. So, and I vicariously get spoiled through that. So, but yeah, I think we're going to race back to make that pumpkin, because we're only going to be there through Saturday morning, so we should be back for at least the campfire part of that.
Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah, because I don't think that starts till like 5 on Saturday.
Yeah, so I think.
But it's a non-Husker weekend in Nebraska, so the pumpkin patch is going to be ridiculous.
Packed.
Yeah, you're going to need to take a shuttle bus just to get to the place from where you have to park.
Yes, it's going to be.
I'm not kidding.
Crazy. So. But it's finally cooling off. It's like it's really fall vibes are upon us. So we've got candles going, got my leaves going here. We've got apple cider, pumpkin patch. I fucking love this season. Because guess what? It means it's almost Christmas time.
I don't like to rush to Christmas. I enjoy Christmas season. Don't get me wrong. Like, I like full. I'm a like, get out of Halloween, let's go full Christmas. Like we don't need to get super excited for Thanksgiving.
I'm a practice Christmas guy. So like the second Halloween is done, the next day Christmas candles are out.
Right.
We try to I have finally talked my wife into letting us put Christmas stuff up earlier than basically the week after Halloween is done.
I am an October junkie. Listen, I like fall weather. I love football. I like spooky stuff.
Spooky season.
It's the 1 month out of the year where all 4 major sports are going. So SportsCenter is like my favorite thing to watch because I get highlights of all 4. I do love October baseball too. I'm not a big like regular season baseball guy. I love October basebve So
I watched a way more baseball this year than I ever have. Just because I fell ass backward into like sports betting like a degenerate gambler. So I've been having it has made watching sports so much more fun for me this year.
1-800-bets-off.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that. So, like, literally, I was freaking watching like UTEP play fucking FIU today because I was like, "Come on, wideout! I need you to have 100 yards." But it for baseball this year, I watched a ton of baseball because of that. So it made the summer because summertime there's like nothing going on once NBA season ends, and so it made like pool time more like okay, put the baseball game on and listen. Yeah. Anyways, let's jump into my most excited segment, our 6 to midnight. This is the segment that gets us up in the morning, gets us excited with something that's coming out, something new, some nerd type of thing that's got our juices flowing this week. And for me, mine's kind of short and sweet because there's not really a ton of info, but I saw this like right before we started recording. I mean, I just mentioned I know we're in spooky season. It's Halloween. We're going to jump into scary movies and talk a lot about Halloween stuff. Also, we do, Howie didn't mention, but we do like a neighborhood like haunted house trip every year where Howie, as you all know, he's a nerdy ass Chiefs fan with a school bus that has been turned into a tailgate bus, which for me, I could care less about that. But the second it's Halloween season, that bus turns into like the bus to hell to this freaking haunted house. And it's like one of the most fun nights of the year where we all go and just get fucking scared out of our minds. But we ride together in this giant school bus. So, but the second Halloween is done, it's Christmas season. I love fucking Christmas movies. I'm a nerd. I'm a sucker for a Christmas special. But I just saw today, I think like an hour ago, they released that they're coming out with a cartoon Batman movie, a Christmas special Batman movie called Merry Little Batman. It's going to be on Amazon Prime. But essentially, it looks kind of, the animation looks kind of cool. It looks kind of goofy, like kid-like cartoon. But essentially, it's a holiday special. It sees Damian Wayne / Robin, who is Batman's biological son, if you did not know that, becomes a miniature Dark Knight. So that's going to be December 8th, so early in December. I fucking love Batman cartoon movies. Anytime
there's some really
Batman
good ones.
Cartoon comes out, I'm a fucking sucker for it. So
it's on. It's going to be on Prime.
Yeah, yep.
It's surprising because like Max has had most of the Warner Brothers stuff.
I know. I think Prime has got like the inside track for all the Batman since, like the Cape Crusader, the Dark Knight, or whatever that, basically the new version of Batman animated series is coming out on Amazon Prime too. So
nice.
But also that just reminded me that Batman: The Long Halloween movies should count now in spooky season. So
absolutely,
now I've got some movies to watch.
Yeah, if you haven't watched those before, definitely.
They're
Long
so
Halloween Part 1 and Part
good.
2 are really good. They did a good job.
So fucking good.
Yeah,
I actually I've got like massive totes of comic books and not necessarily comic books, but graphic novels, like the full collections. And that was what I went and grabbed before we started recording for my trip tomorrow. I'm going to read Long Halloween. It's been a year. So what you got for me?
Good. I got two things. First, the news. I think this came out this morning or late last night. If you're an MCU fan, which I obviously am, you know, the quality of what's been coming out since the end of the Infinity Saga hasn't been 100% the greatest, right? Like
it's fucking boring.
We've had some really good movies like Spider-Man: No Way Home, which is awesome.
Good movie. Right?
Yep. Some of the TV shows have been really good. Like Loki's really good, and season 2's back, which it started off with. Last week's episode was really good. But you know, they're retooling some stuff and they're revamping some stuff. So they had announced that they were doing a Daredevil series called Daredevil Born Again, right? And it's Charlie Cox as Daredevil, which he made a brief return appearance in Spider-Man No Way Home as Matt Murdock, and then he was in the She-Hulk series as Daredevil. But they're doing a new series, right? And so it's and everybody's big question is this a continuation of the Netflix series, or is it a reboot with the same actors? Because we got Kingpin back in the Hawkeyes TV series. It was Vincent D'Onofrio. So they've been filming this, and now that the writer's strike is over, they're back in the writing room, and Marvel has decided, or Marvel Studios, I'm assuming Kevin Feige, they got rid of all the writers and the directors, and they're restart.
Oh, shoot.
The series. Wow. They didn't like the product that they had, and they've decided they're going to redo it. And
with the same guy playing Daredevil.
With Charlie Cox. Yep, that's going to... And so they already have episodes filmed from before the strike. And the thought is they're redoing they're going to reshoot some of that to change the style of the series, and then they're going to finish filming with all new writers and directors.
Fascinating.
So that news came out today, which I think is interesting, because I wonder what kind of product they were looking at. So
I bet Kevin Feige, in a classic, let's do whatever DC's not doing, and that will probably be successful. They were like, oh, they could get Henry Cavill back to be Superman, but just reboot him as it. Nah, like if they're not going to do it, then we're going to fucking do it. Charlie, you're going to be Daredevil, but you're starting new.
I mean, it is called Marvel. Born Again. I mean, that's a little on the nose, right? I know. We're not talking about DC because I refuse. Anyway,
I want to refuse to talk about Marvel. God damn it!
That's you. You can if you want. You don't want to talk about it. You can just listen. Anyway, the next thing I want to talk about, and this is just a quick little thing. So I went to the Omaha Comic-Con back in July, and everybody remember I showed these. This is one of the prints I got. It's the Ninja Turtles, but they're as like the classic Universal monsters, right? So the artist that did these, his name is Jamie Coker. So it's Jamie.Coker_artist on Instagram. Remember that. So check it out if you haven't looked at his art before. He's going through a health thing right now. He's not doing very good.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, just like support the artist. He's got some really cool prints. I bought a couple for me, and I brought some for my kids. But yeah, he's got a pretty nasty infection that he's not winning that battle right now. So, probably needs some support, financial support, stuff like that. And I know we don't have a bunch of listeners or viewers, but like, it's the kind of thing that, pass that on. He's got some cool art, but check him out on Instagram.
Yeah, Jamie, great for
.Coker_artist. So
is that Coker with like a K-O or a C?
So I will spell it. So it's Jamie, Jaime .Coker COKER_artist.
There it is. Great for holiday season. Those are great nerd gifts to purchase. I think you can purchase stuff on his online. So
yeah, because it's got a link to.
It's a bummer here. I didn't see that. I am following him, but I didn't see it. So.
But he's got some cool art. So check that out. But
man, you know what I just realized in our family stuff, I didn't mention this week. Grayson and I got to go to fucking WWE Raw and sit front row, and it was like one of the coolest experiences ever. So
yeah, your videos are. I mean, you were like literally behind the announcer's desk.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. We had not planned on going, but our friend Anthony had basically two people drop out, and him and I are like, I think the only people that we know that are a little bit of a nerds when it comes to wrestling, or at least watch WrestleMania every year. And so he hit me up and was like, hey, do you want to go in the next couple minutes? And I was like, yeah, bug it, let's go. So we got to sit right behind the commentary table. It was not a house show. It was WWE Raw. So it was like live. I stupidly did not get any video of us like actually meeting the wrestlers, but we got to meet a ton of them throughout the night. So it was freaking awesome.
Did you like DVR? Raw.
At the episode, I did text everyone like, "Hey, we're right behind the commentary table, so there's a good chance we're gonna be on TV." And then I got like 5 texts throughout the night of like, "Hey, I just saw you on TV." So
That's
the
awesome.
episodes drop on Peacock. So when that episode finally drops, I'm gonna fucking check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was awesome. Grayson fucking lost his mind. The second we walked in, he got him this big old giant popcorn. We sat down and we were sitting down for 4 seconds and he dumped the whole thing on the ground. So we had popcorn all over the floor. And he was just like, his mind was elsewhere. He was having a great time. So it was a
No, that's cool, man. That's awesome. That's great.
But, all right, let's jump into the episode.
All right. So big premiere movie of the week, the 2023 horror sequel, Exorcist Believer. As we do with any time we do a big premiere, just like we did last week with The Creator, we will kind of give our initial thoughts on the movie, to a little bit about the backstory without giving away any spoilers. We'll do a spoiler warning for anybody that hasn't seen it or, doesn't want to hear anything, so they can jump ahead through the end of the segment, and then we'll talk about the nitty gritty, the details of the movie after the spoiler warning. The nitty gritty. So, Exorcist Believer is a sequel to the Exorcist franchise, which is obviously most famously known for the classic 70s horror movie, the movie that's the 1973 classic Exorcist is one of the scariest movies of all time. It's usually on one of the greatest horror movie of all time lists.
Yep.
Justifiably so. I would not disagree with any of those. I know different strokes for different folks, but it is definitely a very, very well made horror movie, and it holds up
single-handedly
so well.
Ruined pea soup for me for life.
Oh, fair,
so,
yeah.
The first
Spinal
15
taps
minutes
for a whole
were
bunch of people.
I usually, and we talked about this, I think last episode, you and I usually try to go see these movies together, and just schedules didn't line up again this week. And so I had to fucking go see this scary ass movie all by myself.
Yep.
And as we've talked about, I'm a proponent for I can't think of the word that I want to say. I support seeing movies by yourself because it's fun, but I would not go to a scary movie alone. And I had to. And so I may or may not have got my ticket for the very back of the theater, so I could be further away from the screen because I feel like they'd be less scary. And then also may or may not have picked an open seat that was in the middle of a group of people, just so I was by somebody. So
squeeze in. Hold my hand.
But I fucking left my hat in there though, and I left. And so I had to go back in, and it was fucking empty. And I had to go all the way to the back top corner while the credits and scary ass music were playing. It was like, fuck.
I wish I'd known that. I could have been like, boo! Shit your pants and roll down the hill.
When you're a kid, or when you're an adult, not saying me, but maybe somebody, when you're like, have to go in the basement and grab something and you turn the lights off, but you like speed up the stairs.
You're running.
You don't want to get fucking pulled down by something. That was me in the fucking theater as a 33-year-old adult. Fucking grabbing my hat.
Have you ever seen like the Instagram reel where it's like when you have to go to the kitchen in the middle of the night and you see the guy and he like gets some water out of the fridge and he turns around and there's like he's got like 5 people in all black like chasing him up the stairs and stuff. It's like everybody's worst nightmare, right? Yeah.
Yes,
so a little bit about the movie. So back in 2021, Universal bought the rights to the Exorcist franchise for $400 million, which is crazy.
I did not remember that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, for the rights to a horror franchise. Well, because their whole thing was they're going to buy the rights to one of the greatest horror franchises of all time, and they're going to make a new trilogy. Is what their plan is, which is still, as far as I know, the plan. I'm assuming it is because you got to make some money. You got to make back some of that $400 million. You got to make some of that $400 million back.
Based on what you said about slasher films and like how generally horror movies are pretty cheap to make and can make good money back, like I guess that's worth it.
Right. So this movie is already made back its budget, right?
Oh,
in a weekend.
Shit.
And it didn't have a great weekend. It didn't have the weekend that a lot of people thought it was going to have. And I think a lot of that had to do with some bad word of mouth. So it didn't make back. It didn't make it, but it did make back the $30 million because it only cost $30 million. Like that. That's the thing with these horror movies. They don't cost.
Was it like $29 million to Leslie Odom and everything else?
But that's the thing with Leslie Odom is like, you say Leslie Odom, I know who you're talking about. You say Leslie Odom to Joe Schmo, they're like, who?
Yeah,
right?
the uncultured swine.
The uncouth. If you will.
Wait for it. Everybody should freaking know Leslie Odom.
I got a funny one to talk about after we get to the spoiler parts. Remind me of that. But anyway, this is the first part. They are making a sequel. It's supposed to come out in 2025. That will be called Exorcist Deceiver. Will be the next one. So I don't know what the third part of the trilogy is. So hopefully, there's a continuation. There's things to talk about when we get to the spoiler part. Basic premise of the movie, right? Like, and this is the trailer was fantastic. This was a great trailer. They nailed it. But the basic premise of the trailer: 2 girls walking home through the woods after school, disappear. 3 days later, they turn up. Weird stuff starts happening. They're obviously possessed. Right? Of course, just like any other exorcism kind of movie, are they possessed or are they mentally ill? Which is always the question. I think it's usually the question that the church asks anyway. But the one, the main character does appear to be Leslie Odom in the trailer, right? His daughter's one of the 2 girls. And then, there's some cool scenes. You knew Ellen Burstyn was coming back. She was the mom. Chris McNeil from the original Exorcist. She's like 90 years old. She came back for this one. And that's the basic premise of the trailer. Yeah. That stuff right there.
I didn't remember enough of that from the original to and I didn't look into any of, this wasn't a movie that I was like, all right, I need to know the backstory. Like, this is just a classic, trailer looks great. I'm going to see that. I'm not going to look at anything.
Well, so there was the original Exorcist. Then they made a sequel where Linda Blair was older, right? She played Reagan. She played the possessed girl in the first movie. And I believe it was called the Heretic, right? Yeah. I think Exorcist 2. Then they made an Exorcist 3. And I think it was William Peter Blatty came back to do the third one. It was George C. Scott. The third one's actually a pretty decent movie. The second one's not very good. The third one's actually a pretty decent movie. It's kind of a murder mystery with supernatural elements in it. If you've never seen Exorcist 3, I kind of recommend it. It's a pretty cool movie. It's got a really cool kind of twist shocker ending, which is kind of neat. And then back, I think it was the early 2000s, they made 2 prequels that were basically there's a funny story about it. It was basically they had started making one and then somebody finished a separate one and they released 2 prequels at the same time. And I think one was called Exorcist the Beginning and one was called Dominion.
Oh my God, I fucking totally forgot about that.
Yeah, so I've never seen either one of those because they both bombed and were swept under the rug as we won't talk about these crappy movies. But that brings us to this one. Now, I will say from seeing it, it looks like if you've seen the first one, you're good. You don't need to see anything else. I kind of got, and it's David Gordon Green, right? He just got done doing the Halloween requels, right? So he's kind of doing the same thing. He did a trilogy with Halloween. He's doing a trilogy with The Exorcist. It's very similar. It looks like it's fast forward after the first movie. Yeah. Right? Just like the Halloween.
A la Halloween 2018.
Right. So it's fast forward after that. Here's what I'll say. I thought the start of the movie and the buildup was very good at the beginning.
Yeah.
And the middle part. I really liked what they had going on. I got a little lost in the third act and the climax. You kind of lost me in that one, and I'll go into more in the spoiler parts of it. I will say, if you need a good horror movie to go see in the theater, sure, go ahead. Go see it. If it was on digital before the end of the month, I would say just wait. That's my recommendation before we give a full review.
Yeah. And maybe, going by myself, I was like, maybe I was kind of thinking it was going to be scarier, but it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be, if that makes
I
sense.
agree.
I wanted it to be like basically like give me the same vibes that the original did. And it just
I thought there was some of that.
Yeah.
But not near enough.
Yeah, the pacing that's actually a good kind of thing. The pacing was just kind of all over the place. It like took forever to get going, and then it finally did, and then we were kind of jumping all over the place. I mean, I liked Halloween, the reboot, the 2018 reboot. Like, I loved that when it came out. I walked out of that movie. It was like, fuck, like Halloween's back.
Yeah.
And I didn't really get that vibe from The Exorcist. And I would probably say that Halloween is looked at different as a franchise than The Exorcist. Like, people remember the first one as like an instant classic all-time horror movie. But like the franchise of The Exorcist is not like what people are going to see. So
I agree.
But I mean, it wasn't bad. Like, I didn't leave the movie and go like, oh my God, it was horrible, but it was okay. It was good. I agree. Like, you could probably wait and see it when it comes out digitally. If you're like, you need a spooky season movie to go see, I mean, it's Halloween time and it's a scary movie, so like, go for it.
I mean, yeah, if you want to go see a horror movie in the theater this month, it looks like that might be your best option.
Yeah.
There looks like there's quite a bit on streaming, and there's some good options on streaming right now that I would recommend over this. So,
what would be one or two of those?
Okay, so we talked about No One Will Save You, right? Tony talked about it last week. You talked about it the episode before. I'd recommend that over this, as far as scary wise.
Yeah.
Then the June release, I think it was a theater movie in June. Stephen King's Boogeyman came out in June, and it just came out on Hulu last Friday to stream.
I never saw that. That's actually
watched it last night, and I will tell you that
it was good.
If scary wise, it's scarier than this.
Oh shit! Nice. So, Boogeyman.
Yeah. So let's just get to it. Do you think? Jump in.
Yeah.
Spoiler warning.
Get the fuck out of
here. Spoiler warning.
Get out.
Yeah. That was your chance. Forward ahead. Okay. Like I thought they did a great job of hooking you at the beginning with the whole Haitian earthquake thing.
Yeah.
I was like, that's traumatizing, right? Like, basically, Leslie Odom's character is with his pregnant wife in Haiti, giant earthquake. She is gravely injured. They're in a Haitian hospital. It's overrun with people because of this giant earthquake. Basically, the doctors say you have to choose your wife or your baby, right? Like, we can't save both, which I don't buy that, but whatever.
Yeah. I thought that same thing of like that. I mean, I'm not a medical
take the baby out and then take the baby out and then save her. Okay.
I'm not a medical.
I'm not a doctor, but
and maybe some nurse or doctor is going to watch this and be like, actually, morons, that is a real thing. But like,
maybe. And I mean, I would believe that in the 70s. I don't know if I would.
Yeah. I think there was a lot in this movie that was kind of like that. It was like, this wouldn't make sense in any other movie or story, but because of this franchise and needing this to work, like, we're just going to make that a thing. That's kind of how I felt about the return of the mom, of like, they turned her into like this, like, fucking, like, but basically kind of like how the family in The Conjuring is. What's the couple? Yes, I can't think of their names. They're like the
Warrens.
Yes, like
the Warrens.
Like they kind of gave it like a Warrens vibe, that she was like this fucking specialist that's going to come in and make a big deal.
Exactly.
But anyways, I'm jumping away.
So they do the earthquake. They fast forward, right? Like, she's a teenager now. She's at like 12. She's at junior high. whatever. And you could see Leslie Odom's very protective, like doesn't want her like going to hang out with friends after school. She feels very sheltered. He doesn't want her messing with her mom's stuff. Like he's very, he can't let go, right? Even though it's been 12 years, like he's having a hard time with that.
Yeah,
okay,
they did a good job of really holding that, like he was holding
perfect,
on
and he's
tight.
great. Leslie Odom's an awesome actor. Like if you haven't seen Hamilton, he's one of, if not the best actor in that.
Yes,
one of, if not the.
Yep.
Okay, anyway.
Yep.
So they set that up. Oh, we're hiding from Dad. We're gonna go hang out after school. Basically, she like goes into the woods with her friend. They're gonna try and channel her mom to come talk to him. Boom. Girls are missing. I thought that whole part with like they're looking for the girls they're missing, like that part was great. Like that the thriller aspect, like the way they made that was awesome. The conflict between the parents, like, oh, we don't know your daughter. And he's like, well, what the hell does that mean? You know, and they're all kind of, well, we're a good Christian family and stuff. And it's like, oh, here we go. And, you know, but that was all really good. It was because I believed it, right? Like it was very believable that that's the way people are going to act. The girls turn up. They're at like some farm 30 miles away. Medically, they're okay, but there's a lot of weird things going on, right? Yeah. And it's a very uncomfortable hospital scene. Obviously, these are 12-year-old girls. They've been missing for 3 days. They talk about how they have to check them for certain things, you know, before they've been violated or not. But anyway, there's all that. It's very uncomfortable, but this part of the movie is very, like, it's great. Like, we're good. I love this part. Everything's built up is good so far. The girls start changing. Right? There's the scene you see in the trailer with the girl in the church and like pouring the wine on her and saying like body in the blood, body in the blood.
Yeah.
That part's awesome.
That scared the fuck out of me. Yeah.
Right. Or the
body
Leslie Odom's daughter.
That was fucking which was in the trailer. I mean, not like the full part of it, but that moment was in the trailer.
Got that moment, like,
fuck.
Yeah. So, and then Leslie Odom's daughter with the bathtub scene, and she like pees the bed, and then she starts just like she hits him over the head and knocks him out, and then like all that's awesome, right? Then this is kind of where it loses me, is after this. Like he takes his daughter to a psychiatric hospital. She's living there, right?
Yeah.
The Christian family like basically have their daughter locked in the attic, right? Because they're trying to pray it away. And then this is where Leslie Odom's not very believable. The neighbor used to be a nun. There's all this stuff build up right here. And then Ellen Burstyn comes in, and that's where I think the movie kind of loses its luster, right? Like she shows up for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Then she's part of them. She's fully invested. She's the new. It's like a buddy cop movie all of a sudden.
But like she gets eliminated.
Oh like, yeah. But then
immediately
that she gets that's where I felt kind of like it's not necessarily forced, but very like this is like random that
shouldn't need to be there.
Yeah. Like it didn't need to be a part of the story. But for sake of wanting to like make sure we all knew this was a sequel, they like had to do that.
I'm hoping that. So the storyline there is like Leslie Odom's character goes and finds her because she went through the same thing in the 70s, right? So he goes to find her based on recommendations and stuff. He reads the book, and there's exact same things in the book that are happening to his daughter. Exact same, right? So he's showing her pictures, and she's like, I'm coming with you. Sees the daughter. The demon knows who she is. It's implied. I don't think it's ever outright said that it's the same demon, right? And I think in Exorcist, the original, it's Pazuzu, the demon. Anyway, I don't think it's ever outright said it's the same demon, but she's like, he recognizes me. He knows who I am, right?
Yes.
So then they go to the other girl's house. Like the house is in shambles. The family's all like praying in the kitchen, right? And the daughter's up in the attic. And Ellen Burstyn's like, I'm going to go up there and see what's going on all by myself. 90-year-old grandma, going to go see what's going on all by herself. I mean, and then the cross gets knocked off the wall. You know something's going to happen with that cross as soon as it falls off the wall because they emphasize it falling off the wall.
Yeah.
And she stabs Ellen Burstyn's eyes out with it.
Fucking.
Yeah, like.
I did think
like,
the moment.
I thought she was dead. I'm like, she's dead. I think she's dead.
Yeah, like she was just gonna have it fucking like stuck in her head. I
sticking out
did.
of her eye.
That when she's going up the house and like slowly, like like okay, she's gonna find something or she's gonna be stuck with it all by herself. The part where she was walking through the room and like in the mirror, you could kind of see that the girl was like just standing in the background, but then like as she passed it, the girl disappeared from the mirror. That was where I was like, oh, okay, kind of creepy. And then when she fucking turned and like you just see like a glimpse of her running from the top of the stairs, that part I was like, oh fuck, like this is fucking terrifying. But then obviously she goes up, like you said, the girl, the demon remembers her, knows her, or is omnipotent, is all knowing because like he knew that the nurse was going to be a nun and knew her name and that she had had an abortion 30 years ago. So like he was just kind of knew everyone's world.
Yeah.
But like I just thought I don't know why, but when I was thinking when that part she's she says like some type of exorcism thing over the body before she gets stabbed. And it almost seems as if like the demon leaves the baby or leaves the girl for a second. And like that, so she's like going up to her to see if she's okay. The girl stands up and walks back to bed, and she just kind of walked over and like put her hand on her. And I just in my head,
safe. This is okay.
Yeah, in my head, I just thought like you have just flown across the country. You walked right into this thing. You don't know anybody here. You walked through their house, and then like you clearly saw this as a possessed demon, and you just walked up and put your hand on her like it was nothing. That for whatever reason I saw that and I was like, why are you touching her? And then clearly she turns and stabs her eyes out. So that was kind of like shocking and like, oh,
it was.
Fuck.
So like when he first meets Chris McNeil, the character, and she's talking about her daughter Reagan, and he's like, where's Reagan now? And she's like, she doesn't talk to me anymore because I told the story, and she doesn't. I haven't seen her in all these years. I don't know if she's alive or dead. Blah 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 blah. I'm hoping her appearance in this movie is there for a reason when it comes to the sequels they're going to make, right? Like, because it felt forced in this one. Like it almost felt like if it was setting it up for the sequels, why not just hold her off until the second one?
Yeah.
Because there's no reason for her to be in it. She really doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Get stabbed in the face. I mean, that's, I hate to say it, but that's she did.
Like I said, I think it really did. It was just like forced in there so that we all like knew like, oh, this is a sequel to like the original or originals. So.
Yeah. But you called it The Exorcist. You played the music. We already knew. It's whatever. So they decide this group of people, the parents and the old nun that's not a nun, but she's actually a nurse. And she's got a priest from the Catholic Church like on her side who goes to the church, the archdiocese, and is like, we need to do an exorcist on these two girls. And they're like, they're mentally ill. You need to, they need to do that. We're not doing it. And so then they go to the Christian family's reverend. And then they got like a voodoo lady. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what she was, some sort of like, what would is she voodoo or what? They never really said. She's like some random priestess of some sort.
It felt less voodoo. I mean, it felt like voodoo, but like less like New Orleans voodoo and more like Haitian, like African.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't want to say like witch doctor, right? But like you know what I'm saying. Like it was not your typical,
which I thought was
organized
weird.
Religion.
Yeah, I thought it was weird because at some point when Leslie Odom's still looking for his daughter, he's trying to find her. He comes home and his door's open and he's like, oh shit. And we all were like, oh fuck, did she come home? She's home. And he walks in and she's not home, but there's this witch doctor lady like seance and smoke in the house. But the
like the
guy,
neighbor brought her.
yeah,
it's a friend
the
of mine.
neighbor brought her, which this is where I was kind of like, wait, what? Because
Just walk in the house?
he was like full on, the neighbor is like a full on like born again Christian, like just classic like Bible thumper, what like that you learn early in the beginning when they kind of introduce his character. And like talking about like we're doing like a pancake breakfast at church this Sunday, like you two should come or something like that. So I just thought it was weird that like the Christian guy who was his neighbor, who's trying to be helpful, like brought over the like voodoo witch doctor to like cleanse the house.
Yeah.
So that's what I was like,
Yeah.
wait,
And
how are they connected?
We're saying voodoo witch doctor. I don't know what we should be saying in that instance. We're not trying to be inappropriate or anything like that. It's just,
Is that are you not allowed to say those these days?
No, I just don't want. I'm not trying to poop on anybody's religion, right? I don't know what.
It's a good point.
Exactly what you call her. Anyway, this is so they decide they're going to do this exorcism themselves.
Yeah.
All this group of people, all this hodgepodge ragtag team, the monster squad, if you will, are going to come out and they're going to go into Leslie Odom's house. They're going to tie these girls to chairs, drill them to the floor, and do an exorcism. And then the priest shows up and he's like, "Can't help you. Sorry." The Catholic Church says no. So then the nurse, who was not quite a nun, is like, "Oh, I was meant to be."
Yeah,
here,
like
right?
I am fucking able to do a fucking exorcism, even though the Catholic Church just said no to an actual exorcist.
Yeah, I saw a lot of the reviews on this movie were like, "Boy, well, you can call this movie Exorcist. There's no fucking exorcists even in it, right?
Yeah.
It's just a ragtag group of
scabs."
Anyway, so they're drilling this is the part I wanted to tell you about. So they're drilling the chairs to the floor, and Leslie Odom's just kind of standing there admiring his work. And I leaned over to Reagan and I go, I guess this is the room where it happens. She's just like, classic. She rolled her eyes, rolled back. She's like, she knew what I meant, but I felt pretty good about that.
That's fucking awesome. I fucking love that.
They do this. They start to do this exorcist. It's not going well. The priest has second thoughts. He comes in. The whole time they're doing this exorcism and stuff, like, don't touch him, don't touch him, don't touch him, right? What's the priest do? Comes in immediately. Boom, hand on the head. Guess what? Snaps his neck, dead.
Fucking
boom.
Killed him.
Instant. Like, what is going on? Like,
yeah. I did like the line that, so like the Catholic Church says he can't do an exorcism, and then he lets them know. They all think that he's going to be like leading the way and being their savior, and then he's like, "I can't help you. Here's your Bible. Good luck." But like when he was out in the car, like praying, like clearly he was shook from it because he knew that they were possessed. Like when Leslie Odom kind of like noticed him when he was outside and walks over and like knocks on the window, he's like, "The fight's in there, bro." Like,
yeah. I
thought that was, for whatever reason, I thought that line was cool. I was like, yeah, it's fucking right. The fight is inside. You're right. Like, fucking get your ass inside. And then he came inside.
And then he died.
He fucking died. And that was, for me, I liked, as weird as that sounds, I liked that they killed him because, like, I feel like in exorcist movies or movies where exorcisms are happening, like, it never feels like there's ever like anything at stake in terms of like the people in the room, other than the end of the first one where fucking Al Pacino jumps out the window and dies, goes down the stairs. Other than that's fucking good. When the priest fucking goes out the window and dies. Like, I feel like exorcism movies, it never shows like nobody like gets fucking straight up killed by the demon. And this dude came in and was like trying to battle, and then straight up they fucking snapped his neck, which I was like, oh fuck. But then I was like, oh shit, okay, this is dangerous. Like, you can't just be doing it. So
speaking of nobody dies during these exorcism movies, basically they get towards the end of this exorcism, it's finally starting to work, and the demons are like, you have to choose.
Yeah, that was.
And I'm like, okay, that was my biggest beef with this movie. Is like, this just got dumb.
Yeah.
Why? What is that? That doesn't make any sense. Like, it's an exorcism. I've seen a million exorcism movies. That doesn't happen. You get rid of the demon. You don't like both. Somebody's gonna die.
One fucking dies.
So they finish it. Leslie Odom's daughter lives. The other girl straight up, she dead.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, they just straight up killed that kid.
That part was the part that for whatever reason in the whole movie where they fucking clip over and she's like back in that little drainage area from the forest that they originally did the seance thing at.
Yeah.
And like she shows up and then you realize like, oh shit, like she's now in like the demon world or whatever. And like she gets fucking, when she's fucking kind of creeping about and then she gets basically taken down by whatever the demon was.
The demon.
Yeah. That part was like, fuck. Like that's fucking terrifying and also horrible because now she is like with the demon.
Burning in hell.
Yeah, like she didn't make it. So, the thing for me with these movies, with the Exorcist movies, and what makes them so scary is the makeup on these girls when they turn into these fucking scary ass possessed demon girls. Like when I think of the Exorcist movie, or if I ever see it like clips or something like a picture from it online, I have to like look away. I can't stare at the girl from that original movie. She's terrifying in that fucking movie. And
they did a good job.
And they did a good job. especially the girl who ends up dying. She looked fucking scary as hell.
They both were pretty creepy, but she was scary as hell.
Fucking possessed girl.
The cross cut into her face and stuff. Yeah. So she dies. There's a little bit, aftermath and stuff. Leslie Odom's, I'm gonna give my daughter a little bit more space. She can do stuff with her mom's belongings, yada yada yada. I'll say this about the movie. Like I said, the buildup was good. I thought the first 2 acts were really well done. The third act lost it for me. I can understand why people had beef with this movie. You were right when you said it's not as scary as I thought it was going to be. I agree. There wasn't a lot of scary parts. There was a few. There wasn't, and then it wasn't like they didn't do a lot of cheap jump scares either. It did a couple, but nothing, nothing out of the ordinary. I felt like the Ellen Burstyn stuff was forced.
Yeah.
She shows up back like at the end. It's her in the hospital. She's got eye patches on, whatever. She thinks Leslie Odom's character, like Victor's coming to see her. And it's actually Linda Blair is back, coming to see her mom. And then that's when the movie is. I don't know what they're trying to set up, right? Like, I don't know what they're trying to set up with the trilogy because it felt like they told a very cohesive story. But
yeah.
At the same, I had a lot of problems with it. The pacing and stuff. I would like to see it again, I think, just to, when it comes out, just to kind of get another feel of like how it was now that I know things. I didn't hate it. It was okay.
Yeah.
Was I disappointed? Yeah. But like, this wasn't like The Creator where I was going in like, yeah, let's go. I was excited to see it. Don't get me wrong, but 5.5?
Yeah.
6?
Yeah. I think in terms
5.5. I'm going to go with a 5.5.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think in terms of setting up a sequel, remember that they did not banish the demon. It did not die. They did not get rid of it. It just took one of the girls and the other one lived. So like maybe, and obviously they kind of leaned into that it knew the mom, it remembered the mom, and it knew the mom, and or it's connected. We're connected, so maybe that's like the setup for the sequel is like it'll be the same demon coming back for round 3 with them. So
yeah, I mean, where are we gonna go with it? Like, we're gonna do this again?
Maybe Linda Blair will be like the main. She'll come in and be more of like a main character of it.
Well, that's what I was wondering, and that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping the whole Ellen Burstyn stuff was to bring Linda Blair back into it, right? Like, because Linda Blair doesn't do much anymore. Like, I don't know if she does anything. She did a bunch of like B movies in the 80s and stuff, like after she was growing up, but that was kind of it, I don't know, man. What'd you think?
Yeah, like it's again, and I guess horror movies are different for me. There's a specific horror movie that I'll talk about later that I definitely watch not over and over, but I watch multiple times because it's fucking awesome. But then there's a lot of scary movies that are like, yep, saw it once, I don't need to see it again. And that's kind of what I got from this of like, all right, I will never watch that movie again. Yeah, I think 5.5 is actually kind of right on the nose. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't want to go too low because I didn't, like I said, I didn't dislike the movie. But you know, I think I gave that piece of shit, The Flash, like a 5. So it's got to be more than 5.
If I had to watch this movie or The Flash, I would watch The Flash 100 times before watching this movie.
You would. I would not.
So, but that's because I respect Michael Keaton like none other.
I was going to say I would watch the scenes with Michael Keaton,
except the kitchen scene where he's fucking long haired and fucking bets.
Okay, we're not talking about it.
Every fucking
all right.
episode.
So if you need a movie to go see in the theaters for October because you want to see a horror movie, go see it.
I would probably rather
on a Tuesday. For
$5. I did go see it on a Tuesday, so I didn't even make the trip down to my free movie. I paid the $5 because it was down the street. I will say that I would. I mean, I haven't seen the new Saw movie, but I already know that I would enjoy this one much more than the Saw movies. I don't like the Saw stuff.
That's a cup of tea kind of thing, though, right? Like that's the kind of movies you're into, right? Like I like the Saw movies. I think you said this last week. That original one is an awesome concept, and it's really well done. And like I could. And they tried to roll with it, but they tried to, just keep churning out sequels and like shock value and stuff like that, which is what they did.
It literally became like a yearly thing, like a new
for a while.
Saw
it did,
every year.
And then they took a break, and and now they're. Listen, it's a specific thing for certain people. I don't mind them. I'll watch them once. They're cool. Whatever. Yeah. That's my kind of deal. Anyway. Wait till streaming or $5 Tuesday. That's it. There you go. 5.5. Exorcist Believer. That's it. That's our review. That takes us into my favorite segment. There can be only 5.
Only 5.
We're staying on brand today, right? So we're gonna do top 5 horror reboots, remakes, reboots. So we're gonna do that, and then you're gonna do your category after that. But we're gonna stop with top 5 horror remakes. There's a lot. Boy, they remake horror movies a lot. Big list to choose from. And I went with personal preferences. I didn't really go with like highly rated and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, because I went with the ones I like to watch, and the ones that I watch probably all these movies I could watch repeatedly, I think, except for one, but it's such a really good movie that I put it at number 5 on my list. But anyway, top 5 horror remakes. I do have an honorable mention. I put this as an honorable mention just because I know it's a remake, but it's different, right? Because the original was a made for broadcast TV miniseries. I put It and It Chapter 2 as an honorable mention because they're technically remakes, I guess, but they're based on the book.
Wait, the new ones that just came out?
Yeah,
that's your honorable mention. Okay.
Yeah, I put those as an honorable mention because I don't see them so much as a remake as more like they're like that's actually they made a movie based on the book, right? Because the miniseries, it's not. If you've ever read it, as cool as Tim Curry is as Pennywise the Clown and stuff, like, and as terrifying as it was for me as an 8-year-old, like, it's a made-for-TV movie, right? It's not the same.
Scared the shit out of me as a kid. I could never look at shower drains the same for a really long time.
So anyway, that's my honorable mention. At number 5, I have David Cronenberg's The Fly at number 5.
Okay.
Have you ever seen The Fly?
Yeah, with
Jeff Goldblum.
Old Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, Gina Davis. It is one of David Cronenberg's famous for body horror, and The Fly is gross.
Yes,
it's gross, but it's also terrifying.
Yeah.
in its own way. So I have The Fly at number 5. At number 4, I have the Fede Alvarez remake of Evil Dead.
Of course you do. You Evil Dead lover, you.
Man, that's a great freaking movie. Cabin in the Woods. They take, they get rid of the Ash character. It's not just a bunch of people going to party in the woods. It's like sister's a drug addict. She's coming out to detox, right? Yep. Like there's a whole bunch of family drama and stuff. Is where like Evil Dead, it's a straight up horror movie. It's gross, like super low budget. And Evil Dead 2 is a sequel, but it's also a remake, I guess, if you've ever seen Evil Dead 2, but it's funnier, right? Like the Evil Dead remake is bleak and dark and like
scary. That's one where she fucking opens like the floor hatch, right?
Yeah. And there's the part where the gal's like broken mirror like peels her face off, right? Like, and it's rough. It's a rough watch, but it's a good movie.
I don't feel like the newer one was like as hard to watch as that one was.
No, it wasn't, but it was. There was a couple scenes too. The stabbed in the eye and stuff. Like there's parts that were hard to watch, but yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. At number 3, I had the Crazies. Ever seen the Crazies?
Yeah, fucking scary.
Yeah, Crazies. It's 2010, came out 2010, directed by Breck Eisner, Timothy Olyphant. And I didn't even know that was a remake when it came out, but it was based on a like George Romero, I think, kind of deal. Yeah. He wrote and directed the original. So George Romero, obviously most famous for Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and whatnot. So, but I think Crazies is a lot of fun. It's a really cool. It's kind of like a zombie movie, but it's more like a biological than just eat the brain stuff. It's more like just people get sick and go crazy. It's called the Crazies, right? But anyway, that's what I have at number 3. At number 2, back to George Romero again, I have the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Nice.
Which is Zack Snyder.
That's fucking awesome.
It's a fucking awesome zombie movie. It was like that. Like the first time you see those zombies like running at full speed, you're like, wait, there's fast zombies.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's fucking terrifying.
Why didn't somebody think of this before? That's a cool movie. It takes the same basic premise of the original Dawn of the Dead. They're trapped in a mall. The world's overrun with zombies, but it has that Zack Snyder flair. At the same time, the characters in it are great. Like I really thought everybody acted their ass off in it. Nobody's super famous. I mean, like Ving Rhames is in it, right? Sarah Polley's like the main character, and she's more famous for like writing and directing movies than anything. But the Dawn of the Dead remake is
it's fucking awesome.
Primetime horror movie. And then the number 1, I have John Carpenter's The Thing.
I knew it.
It's my favorite horror. It's my favorite horror movie. It just happens to be a remake. I have to put it on here. I mean, I know you don't like repeating stuff, but at the same time, it's like
if it's there, it's there.
It has to be because it's my favorite horror movie. It happens to be a remake of what was the original called? Like The Thing from
I was just gonna say
1951's The Thing from Another World. But
I think because there's a newer like remake or sequel.
It's a prequel.
Yeah, like I think because that is a prequel / like a reintroduction to that franchise. I think a lot of people, for those that are actually thinking about it, they don't realize that the old one was actually a remake of an older movie. So
right, an even older movie. Yeah. So listen, we've talked about it before on here when we did the I think when we did Big Trouble in Little China, because we talked about John Carpenter and Kurt Russell, and we talked about The Thing. It's probably the best practical effects in a horror movie ever.
Yeah,
right? Like some of those practical effects are fucking insane.
Fucking terrifying.
The tension in that movie is amazing. You don't know who the freaking monster is. The entire movie, the cast is phenomenal. The whole Antarctica setting and like just like there's no way out kind of deal. It's just
fucking
it's a horror
masterpiece. Yes. I think I told you there was a YouTube channel called Dr. Thorgy that I would watch. And he's a big Halloween nerd. So he would do what was called Thorgy Ween. And every week they would do like a retro, like kind of like what we do, like we just did with The Exorcist Believer. He would just watch the movie, do a review of these old movies.
Mm-hmm.
And he, like you, the Thing was his top like scary movie ever. And it forced me to dive into that movie a lot more and be like, okay, I got to rewatch this and actually pay attention. And everyone's right. It's fucking amazing. Mm-hmm. It's an awesome movie. Love your list. Ours is totally different. We don't have any of the same movies, which is like
not a single one, huh?
Not a single fucking one. So other than my honorable mention, I did have one honorable mention, and that was The Thing. So I had that was just I didn't put on a list, not because we've talked about it before, but because it just in line of these movies, I just didn't have it in my top 5. My number 5, Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003 with Jessica Biel.
I almost had it on there. That's a good one.
Yeah, it for whatever reason, I think just timing of when that came out, like kind of like when Halloween in 2018 came out, like I wanted to see it. Like this was like a reboot from the start. It essentially remade the first one, but like tried to up the holy shit, this is terrifying. And they did. Like, Leatherface is fucking scary as hell in it. You just have, yes. And it's insane how much we've talked about that man on this podcast. He should fucking be our number 1 fan, by the way.
Andrew Bernarski.
Yeah, fuck. We need to start tagging him on these things. Maybe he'll come on as a guest. Like, bro, we've done fucking 6 episodes we've talked about you on here.
We got 95 viewers. What are you up to lately?
I bet he'd do it. He probably needs the work. That movie, for whatever reason, like there was a sense of continuous like dread. Like I always just, like from start to finish, you feel like you're never safe. And I liked it. I really liked that movie. So and then number 4, we've talked about this a couple of times already today, but the Halloween, I think technically it was a sequel, but I kind of look at it like it was like a reboot or remake from 2018.
Yeah, it's a sequel, so I didn't put it on my list because it's a sequel.
I mean, I just look at it like they were trying to like reboot the franchise, so they were bringing it back, and they brought all the original characters. So
I'm good with it.
It's a remake of a sequel. Remember, there was a sequel to.
There was a Halloween 2, so I guess.
And this was.
And they cut that out. Of Halloween 2,
so a much better version of Halloween 2. That movie. We've talked about it on the episode, so don't go too deep, or talked about it before. It like recaptures the vibe from the original Halloween, the score, the music, like the whole from start to finish feels like the old, like they recaptured it. So Halloween 2018, I believe it's streaming on like Peacock or something, so like it's available to go watch. And then my number 3, which I thought maybe you'd have this on, but maybe not. I had The Haunting from 1999. This movie has Liam Neeson in it, all Qui-Gon Jinn. It's basically like House on the Haunted Hill, like a remake of it, / based on the original book of Hill House. So I don't know why, but when I was a kid, that movie it terrified me. It fucking scared.
I hate that movie.
Really? Fucking scared
it's on my list.
Shit out of me. It's scary. There's some fucking scary ass moments in it. There's some really goofy moments. Like the ending is super goofy, but like the early parts of that movie are scary. Fucking violin, cello, or piano string fucking breaking and whipping that girl in the face. I thought it was a great movie. So
then the TV show is basically a remake of that too, then, right? Because it is
Hill House, which is super Totally different. Not anywhere near the same vibes. Like,
and way more terrifying.
And fucking horrifying.
Like exponentially so.
The Haunting of Hill House is like the scariest content that has come out in the last like 20 years.
Don't want anybody to get confused because there's the Haunting of Hill House and then there's a House on the Haunted Hill.
That's what I meant. The House on the Haunted Hill. That's more what I was.
That was an old Vincent Price movie. Then that was remade with like Jeffrey Rush.
Yes,
and he actually played a character named Mr. Price.
Yes,
which I thought was funny. He had pencil mustache that Vincent Price did, but I liked that one better than the Liam Neeson movie.
Oh, get out of here! I love that.
Yeah,
the House on the Haunted Hill was an interesting movie. But yeah, The Haunting. I don't know why. When I saw it when I was looking through the list, I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I liked that when I was a kid. So it scared me, but I liked it. And then sticking in that kind of same time zone, number 2, I have 13 Ghosts from 2001, the remake of the 1960 movie. I, for whatever reason, one, the movie scared the fuck out of me when it first came out. Mm-hmm. That fucking juggernaut caged head, or not, the jackal with the caged head was fucking scary. And I think that movie has aged like a fine wine. Like now it's more people like fond, like that movie now, and they look back on it than they realized back when it originally came out. Like, I don't think it had like really good reviews or anything, but
no, because they churned those out like one after another. Like, and it was the same studio did them, low budget. I don't remember what it was. Is I can see the Dark Studios. It was like a house lightning behind it. Whatever. I remember who it was. And they did House on Haunted Hill, and they did 13 Ghosts. They just like churned one out a year or something.
Yeah.
And they were all kind of the same. Like they were gory, creepy, shitty movies.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But like, they had their thing. Like I like both those. I like 13 Ghosts. I like House on Haunted Hill. They're very similar.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. 13 Ghosts, just like the ghosts themselves fucking scared me.
Yes, the designs were cool as hell.
Yeah. Like, and really the concept of it was cool. Did they remake? I feel like there was another 13 Ghosts, like a more recent one that came out, or that was similar. But like the whole like the house is a giant glass house, and there's some fucking. Like, it's all
you're thinking
connected.
of Cabin in the Woods. The part at the end where like all the remember they like had all the different monsters to choose from. It's very 13 Ghosts at the end where they all get out.
Yes,
because they're all different. I had that kind of vibe. But yeah, they Dark Castle Entertainment. That's who it was. There was talk that they're gonna make like a 13 Ghosts like TV series.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, but it hasn't gotten made yet.
Making a comeback, but. Okay, well, look at us. I mean, my list is kind of off the beaten path, I would say, in terms of like the general what you think. But my number 1, which you had as your honorable mention, fucking It 1 and 2, the new version from 2017. Primarily Chapter 1. Chapter 2 is good, but Chapter 1, like, fuck, this movie felt like. It felt like Stranger Things if Stranger Things was rated like R and fucking hard terrifying. R. Yeah, fucking scary as fuck.
I will say this, and I said like I only had it as an honorable mention because of the way I viewed it as not so much remake but its own thing. Yep, first one's a home run.
Yeah, I didn't read the books, so for me, like I'm not comparing it to the books. I'm just comparing it to the other movie of like. This is a remake of the movie, but they're going to put more stuff in the book than the other one did. That's kind of my vibe. But man, like It Chapter 1 it's a really good scary movie. And that I feel like that movie kind of got me hooked back into scary movies because it had been a while since I've gone to a theater and been kind of fucking terrified. Pennywise and the new Pennywise is fucking awesomely designed and terrifying.
We talked about him a couple episodes ago about how good Tim Curry is and everything he's in, and like how he's a freaking MVP.
Yeah.
And in the original miniseries from like 1990, he nails Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Like he's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. His fucking
Bill
sharp teeth are so
Skarsgård is crazy good.
Yeah,
like
fucking
it's like
so his little smile, his weird ass smile.
That
the way he talks is fucking scary as shit. I can never see Skarsgård.
He should have like been nominated for freaking awards for that movie. He was so good in it.
He was fucking horrifying. Yeah, like I don't think I'll ever see Skarsgård in any other role. Like I can't see him other than him being Pennywise. And like he was iconic, I think is the word I want to use. Like he was like instantly iconic as Pennywise the Clown. So and I haven't seen that in like maybe a year or more. So that's gonna be on my Halloween list this year. I probably should watch the second one more because I feel like I've watched the first one a bunch and I've only seen the second one like maybe twice.
I think it's you really need to watch them as one movie.
Oh yeah, I haven't done that.
And it's very much how the book is. I mean, the book is very much like it's one cohesive story.
Yeah,
together with the two age groups.
Which is probably why I think I like the first one better because like it gives me more like the Goonies, Stranger Things, those types of vibes.
And all those kids are great too.
Yes,
they're all awesome.
Crushed it with the casting. So, all right, sweet. Look at us. Look at our remakes. I
like your list. Really good list, though. I mean, listen, I considered 13 Ghosts. Like I would probably put it at number 2 on my list if I saw it as a straight up remake, right?
Yeah.
I probably would. If that's that Chase Up Massacre remake, like if you think about the big 4, right? Like you're talking like Leatherface, Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, right?
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the remakes, okay? I'm going to leave the requel Halloween out of it.
Yeah.
So like Rob Zombie's remake, right, was the original one.
Mm-hmm.
The Chainsaw one, the Friday the 13th remake, Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Texas Chainsaw is by far the best one.
For sure. And then number 2 for me would be the Friday the 13th.
I agree. And then Rob Zombies and then Nightmare on Elm Street's a piece of dog shit.
Fucking horrible. But I will say Rob Zombie's like House of which one was first? House of 1,000 Corpses or was it Devil's Rejects was first?
No, House of 1,000 Corpses was
that movie was fucked up. And
that movie messed me up
a
little bit when I saw it.
Up, yeah. So like give Rob Zombie his credit because like, and I actually feel like last year I saw that Rob Zombie's like Halloween remake was getting a little bit more love of like it actually wasn't as bad as a lot of people remember it. So
well, the biggest beef with that movie was that they gave Michael Myers like a backstory, like he had a reason he was, and that was what was so terrifying. I think about the original Michael Myers was that he was just fucking nuts.
Yeah,
like he just snapped all of a sudden as a kid, just lost his mind and killed people.
Yep,
and that's why I think that's the biggest beef with Rob Zombies is like. They had him like he was abused as a kid and he like, was bullied and like all this shit happened to him.
Turn him into like a sympathetic character.
Oh yeah. And that was I think the biggest beef with it. Yeah. Right. But yeah, that's what they tried to do. And I didn't have a problem with it like a lot of people did, but I think it took away from some of, the mystique of Michael Myers.
When they remade the Nightmare on Elm Street and like totally different actor and design of Freddy, right?
Well, yeah. So
I don't really remember
Freddy
much from that.
It was Jackie Earl Haley. It was Rorschach was Freddy Krueger. And like
I don't think I saw that reboot.
The Nightmare on Elm Street one? You ever saw that?
No, because I never really watched those original movies. I think maybe I've seen the first one.
Yes, he was a big child actor in the 70s. He was in like all the Bad News Bears movies as one of the players. Like so, Jackie Earl Haley was this big child actor. So then in like the mid 2000s, he got cast in a couple movies as an adult, and then he got nominated for an Oscar for like as a pedophile in the movie Little Children. Like he was haunting in that movie. So that like started this like resurgence where then he was cast as Rorschach and he was
fucking awesome. Yeah.
And then after Watchmen came out, he was cast as Freddy Krueger. And then that movie was just so hated. Like I thought he was fine. I didn't have a problem with him, but it basically killed his resurgence. Like immediately. So
because it was so not what people wanted. Fascinating. All right, I will not put that on my Halloween list then.
I think everybody should see the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
I do. Just the thought of Rorschach as him is interesting.
Funny story though, but like Michael Bay's production company, Platinum Dunes, did the Chainsaw Massacre remake, the Friday the 13th remake, and the Nightmare on Elm Street one.
Yeah,
did all
which is fascinating. Michael Bay is so strangely connected to things.
He's a strange dude. Anyway, good. I like your list. Yeah, I'm gonna go on that one. So,
all right, let's jump into There Can Be Only Five. I went with Halloween movies that have Halloween incorporated or a part of it or in it. Just a Halloween movie, not just a scary movie, but something that had Halloween in it.
Takes place at Halloween.
Yes. Oh, that's what your like mindset was?
Yes.
I in my head, I wasn't like the whole movie has to be on Halloween, but there has to be a Halloween moment in it, or it's like the season of Halloween. I have 3 honorable mentions. 1, Halloween Town. Fucking classic. Disney's Halloween Town. They made, I think, 3 or 4 of them, but like, I do know a lot of people that is their like quintessential Halloween. That is their A Muppet's Christmas Carol.
People from your age group, not mine.
Yes, mine, not yours. So that is a fact. E.T. I have listed as a Halloween movie. I would bet you have it in your top 5. But
I didn't even think of that one.
E.T. is... It's not a Halloween movie, but it has one of the most iconic Halloween like scenes in any movie ever. When fucking E.T. is dressed as a ghost, or he's walking, or they go trick or treating, and I forget what they have him dressed up as.
He's in a ghost. He's just in a bed sheet with eye holes.
Yes, and he talks to fucking Yoda, and like, or they
he
see like
sees
a Yoda. Yeah,
and he's home. Yes, he starts chasing Yoda.
Yep. So they straight up connected E.T. that is part of the grand universe of Star Wars.
Of course, George Lucas puts E.T. in Phantom Menace.
Yes, I remember that. They were in the council chamber.
The Senate chamber. Very good. Yeah, that's. I didn't think of E.T. That's really good.
Okay, so this is my number 5. This one might because I was trying to go back and see like when there were scenes of it in the movie. This one might be my only one that shouldn't be in this list, but for whatever reason, I'm like, this is a fucking Halloween movie to me.
The Muppets Christmas Carol.
Fucking Monster Squad. I fucking love Monster Squad. It takes place during Halloween season, but I don't think they ever do like any trick or treating or talk about it. But it's literally a monster movie. It is, if you like Stranger Things, if you like the Goonies, fucking Monster Squad is like one of the best fucking 80s movies ever.
It's fantastic.
It's so fucking good.
Wolfman's got nards.
Yes, dude. It's literally a movie where they bring Dracula, Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I think the Mummy is there as well. And Werewolf, that they all fucking somehow make their way into this town, and this group of kids who are obsessed with monster movies are trying to take them down. And it's fucking classic. It should be watched every year. So Monster Squad. Now let's jump into my number 4. I've got Paranorman. I don't know what it is about Paranorman. I have like the animation style is fucking cool. It's weird. It's straight up Halloween. My kids love it. It kind of scares them. But it's like a fun little. I'm a big animation guy. I like animated movies. And it's got that like Nightmare Before Christmas kind of vibes to it. So
it's Leica Studios that did. It's actually the same crew that did they did Nightmare Before Christmas for Disney, and then Leica Studios did Coraline, and they did talk about terrifying movie,
fucking scariest movie ever.
They did Paranorman. They did Box Trolls. Did you ever see Box
Trolls?
Yeah. Yep. And then Kubo and the Two Strings. Did you ever see?
Kubo is a good fucking movie.
That's a good movie overall. That's a cool movie. But yeah, that's Leica Studios.
Nice. Yeah, they are killer.
They all might have the same director. Henry Selick might have directed all of them. I'm going to look it up.
That would not shock me because they all have very similar vibes.
Well, that's the thing about Nightmare Before Christmas. So when you think of Nightmare Before Christmas, who do you think of?
I think of Tim Burton.
Right. Henry Selick directed that movie. Tim Burton didn't. Yeah. Tim Burton wrote it.
Oh, they did The Corpse Bride too, right? It was not one of them.
Yes. He did. Okay, Henry Selick directed Nightmare Before Christmas, James and the Giant Peach, Monkey Bone.
Oh, what a weird Brendan Fraser movie.
Coraline, and then he just did the new one that's on Netflix, Wendell and Wild.
I don't think we've watched that one.
Reagan's watched it. She says it's good. But anyway, yeah, like Leica Studios is the studio that does all those stop motions. So
they're awesome. Paranorman is kind of cool. He's like, it's kind of like Sixth Sense. Like he can see ghosts, and like he's kind of a weird outcast in school. He doesn't have any friends, but finds out he has some special power that like was in his family, and there's a big secret to the town that him and his two little friends and his like fucking popular sister who hates him. They go on like a grand adventure to stop this like ancient curse on the city from witches or something like that. But Paranormal was great. Freaking love that movie. It is Halloween season, so I love watching that. Number 3, I've got Monster House. Really right in the same boat as fucking Paranorman. Monster House is like it's an animated movie. It's kind of the same premise as Paranorman. It's a kind of an outcast kid and his buddy. They're in this neighborhood where basically the house across the street is like, it's like the house that you don't go to. It's all run down, and some old guy lives there, but like they never see him, and they're all terrified of the house. And it turns out the house is alive. There's a curse on it. Fucking Monster House is great. It's actually scarier than I remember when I originally saw it, because I tried watching it with Parker, my 4-year-old, and it scared the fuck out of him. Like we had to turn it off.
Funny parts in it too.
Yeah, there's a ton of funny shit, but it also has enough like fucking scary that like my 4-year-old was like, "Can we fucking turn this movie off right now?"
Yeah.
So, Monster House. Let's go to number 2 and 1. These are two of like the most classic Halloween movies. If you don't think of these movies that when you think of Halloween, then you're not doing it right. Ernest Scared Stupid.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kidding. That's not not in my top 2.
We just watched it. We just watched it last week.
I just realized I didn't say it in my honorable mention, so I found a way to slip it in there. Ernest Scared Stupid is not my top 2, but I do love that movie. Number 2, Nightmare Before Christmas. It's all-time classic. I feel like we look at it more as a Christmas movie than a Halloween movie, but I think generally
it's a seasonal movie. Yeah, it's safe from October till January.
Yes, it can be played for both and be fine.
Yep.
I lean a little bit more on the Christmas side, but it is like when I think of Halloween, or we put on Halloween playlists, or we go trick or treat, this is Halloween, the song. This is Halloween. That's like the first fucking song we listen to.
We just blew up our new inflatable in the front yard. Did you see it? It's a giant Oogie Boogie.
Yeah. Oh, the boogeyman in that is fucking terrifying. In that movie.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's my number 2. And then my number 1, the most classic Halloween movie of all Halloween movies, Hocus Pocus, number 1.
Wow.
Hocus Pocus is a fucking... Did I miss a movie? Is there a movie you thought I'd have?
I can't believe Halloween's not on your list.
I thought the same thing.
Okay.
And I thought, like, okay, at some point I've got to put Halloween on here.
You
But
did
then I'm like,
you did the kid-friendly list is what you did.
I just was like, well, I've got Halloween on here. I know the original should be on here, but you know me, I like to do the list where I talk about the movies that I don't think everyone is going to pick for the most part.
You're right.
So
you're right.
But Hocus Pocus, it's literally on Halloween night. There's witches.
Yep.
They're running around. It's like every family, whether you have kids or you don't, you watch Hocus Pocus during Halloween season. So, Did you ever see the movie Idle Hands, by the way?
Oh, yeah, with Devin Sawa.
Yes.
Jessica Alba.
Yes, that was another honorable mention, but since I had so many, I didn't fucking put it on there. But what a fucking weird movie with who's the dude from Austin Powers it's into? Seth Green?
Yeah, Seth Green's the zombie.
He's got the fucking bottle in his head.
Bottle sticking out of his head, yeah.
Great scary movie, but anyways.
It's good. It's a decent movie. I remember watching that a lot, like in college.
Yeah.
So
all right,
that's good. I like your list. We have a couple.
Oh.
All right. So my honorable mentions are again, this isn't everybody's cup of tea. Are Terrifier and Terrifier 2 are my honorable mentions with Art the Clown. So these are super low budget culty movies. The second one just came out like last year. They are horribly graphic films. Like they are beyond like. So my daughter Reagan likes horror movies. She's watched most of them, right? She's in middle school. Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, whatever. Fine. Watch them all. I don't care. They don't scare her. She keeps asking to watch Terrifier, and I keep saying, "You're not old enough. You're not there yet."
Yeah. You suggested that movie to me, and I watched the first like fucking 5 minutes, and I was like, I can't watch this.
They're nuts. They're nuts. But if you like graphics, violent, scary movies, recommend. Interested. They're making a third one.
Recommend.
The second one has is 90% on Rotten Tomatoes too. The second one is.
That's
crazy.
Fucking crazy.
And it was a crowdfunded movie. It was all people that saw the first one paid for the second one. Like it was $2 million.
That's insane. Yeah. I guess the main character clown is kind of iconic or very like kind of recognizable now. So
he's getting there, right?
Yeah,
he's getting there. So that's just honorable mention. Terrifier and Terrifier 2. At number 5, I had Hocus Pocus.
There it is.
Hocus Pocus is a classic. Like you have to watch that movie during Halloween season. They made a sequel last year. It's not near as good as the first,
but it's not bad.
It's not bad. It's worth a watch. It's got its charm. But the first one is a must during the month of October. At number 4, I had the original John Carpenter's Halloween at number 4. It's probably the most iconic slasher movie of all time.
Yeah.
The movie that established Jamie Lee Curtis as the Scream Queen. It's very, very well done for such a low budget movie. Like I grew up a big Friday the 13th fan. Michael Myers was never my guy, but I understand like the original Halloween and its importance in like cinema as a slasher horror movie.
Yeah.
It is a classic. What was that? Number 4. Okay. So at number 3, I have the 2018 Halloween. I think it's better than the original. I enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah.
Listen, David Gordon Green gave everybody hope when he made this movie that like they nailed it. They brought the same vibe the original had, the brutality, the suspense, all of it. It was such a good movie, and then he just fumbled the bag with
the other two
kills and ends. They're terrible. But that movie as a standalone sequel is better than any other Halloween movie, in my opinion.
I agree.
Like, better than any of the other ones.
I agree. If I were to have to put one of those on my top 5, it would be the newer one, not the original one.
Yep.
So
I agree. And number 2, I have The Nightmare Before Christmas. It is a classic in our house.
Look at our number twos.
Yeah. It is. Growing up, it was like my daughter's favorite movie. Des loves it too. We talked about watching it tonight. We have Zero the dog in our front yard, and we have Oogie Boogie. It's just what we do.
Love it.
It's our.
You guys
our thing. We have a Jack Skellington.
I was just gonna say that. You guys have a Jack Skellington that's always up
year round, right? So he is right when you walk in our house. He gets decorated with the holidays, but he stays up.
Yeah.
So during Halloween, it's just plain Jack. During Christmas, he has a Santa hat that has a little Jack Skellington face on it that he wears with the beard. It's the one from the movie that he wears. It's like the long, scraggly beard. And then, like, for Valentine's Day, he wears a tie that has hearts on it, and he wears shamrock sunglasses, and like, yeah, all year round, he stays up. Anyway,
I'm shocked that's not your number one, to be honest.
Well, I have a movie for Halloween that I watch every Halloween.
I already know what
every
this
year
is going to be. Is it a cartoon?
Nope. No. No. My favorite Halloween movie that is number one on my list, and I never miss it, is the 2007 Michael Dougherty film Trick or Treat.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
I am a huge anthology film person, and I love that movie. It is one of my favorite horror movies ever, and it is my favorite Halloween movie.
It's Trick or Treat, right? Trick or Treat.
Yeah. Trick or Treat.
What a movie.
It's a series of 4 Halloween stories that have common elements in them, and then they all kind of get tied together, right, through different points in time. It's really well done, in my opinion. Super low budget. It's kind of a cult following. There was always talk that they were going to make a sequel, but they never have. I wish they would. I think it's super cool. I went to Disney World, back in 2017, and we went to Hollywood Horror Nights at Universal one of the nights, and they had a big trick-or-treat themed stuff, and it was cool because they had little Sam, the little potato bag kid monster, the pumpkin-headed thing, running around everywhere. It was so freaking neat. But that's my number one, Trick or Treat.
Nice.
If you haven't seen Trick or Treat, you should see it. That's a cool movie. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it's my favorite. So
I love that. Your list was way different than I thought it was going to be, and I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So I had a couple. We had a couple same ones, but it's and Michael Dougherty also did Krampus, which I think that needs to be on everybody's Christmas list too, because I think that movie rocks. But it's not as good as Trick or Treat.
It was kind of hard to narrow down Halloween movies because I think generally we just think of scary movies during Halloween, but not all scary movies are Halloween movies. So that was where I kind of ran into some issues of oh shit, I watch that every year at Halloween, but that's not really a Halloween movie. So
that's how you interpret your list, right? That's how we do it. It's whatever you want it to be.
So
like your list, we had some different ones. We had some similarities, but it's good stuff all around. So we're full on in spooky season. Spooky season. But that's episode 24 of the Movie Dads podcast, the 2023 Exorcist Believer. We're back next week to continue our...
What do we have next week?
Spooky trend with the I can't believe you haven't seen it, Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
Peter Jackson directed, Michael J. Fox starring... classic.
God, we're watching this.
The Frighteners. Kyle's never seen The Frighteners. It came... I'm going to remember what year this movie came up. I want to say 95. 1996 supernatural comedy horror film written and directed by Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh, who made the greatest movie trilogy of all time, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I was Fran Walsh made Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, she wrote it with him.
Oh, did she? I didn't know that.
They co-wrote it. And they co-wrote this. And, The Frighteners.
What an interesting road they lived.
We talked about that.
He took the road to Mordor, clearly, the long road.
But he took it in a rally car.
Like an inside joke. Love it.
Yeah, inside joke. Anyway, that's episode 24, Exorcist Believer. If you're watching us on YouTube, like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. Give us your top 5 horror remakes or your favorite movie to watch at Halloween. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah,
And
comment your top. Give us at least your best Halloween movie,
give us your favorite.
Or it's Halloween, and maybe this could be a top 5 list. Maybe not, because we kind of just did it. But like, what's your number 1 Halloween season movie? Like, what's the movie that you watched during Halloween season? Mm-hmm. Comment it.
You're never miss during October movies, like the ones you have to see. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's if you're not watching us on YouTube, hopefully you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, or Podcast Index. You can check us out on social media at Movie Dads Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Episode 24 in the books. We'll see you next week for episode 25. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.